Yes, dear students, Thomas Stearns Eliot was born in 1888 and died in 1965. He was an American-born British poet, essayist, publisher, playwright, literary critic, and editor. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, America, he moved to England in 1914 at the age of 25 and settled there. He became a British subject later on, subsequently renouncing his American citizenship. T.S. Eliot, the 1948 winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, is one of the giants of modern literature, highly distinguished as a poet, literary critic, dramatist, and editor and publisher. In 1910 and 1911, while still a college student, he wrote the love songs of J. Alfred Prufrock and other poems that are landmarks in the history of literature. Preludes is made up of 4 poems written by the modernist poet T.S. Eliot between 1908 and 1912. Preludes is a series of 4 short poems written by T.S. Eliot, published in his first collection, Prufrock and Other Observations, in 1917. So it was composed in 12 and published in 17. The 4 preludes are written in free verse. Though there is a repeated return to iambic tetrameter, the repeated return to iambic tetrameter conveys the orderly nature of urban life amidst the fractured free verse. Prelude means an introduction to something. To be specific, a musical sense. In musical sense, it is a small composition that is played before the main piece of music. In that sense, prelude is just a small window view of the characteristics of the empty society we live in, which is a terrible place. Eliot wrote these poems early in his career, so you can think of these short preludes as testing the voice of a new poet. Preludes is very effective of Eliot's poems and makes an important contribution to Eliot's development from Prufrock to the Wasteland. Broadly speaking, Preludes is about the drudgery, waste, and isolation of modern urban life. Eliot paints the scene vividly with a few concrete physical details, a sketch which is more effective than a complete painting. Every part of the poem is intended to concentrate the overall impressions of sordid helplessness, shabbiness, and detachment. Preludes critiques the alienating effects of modern urban life. Preludes by T.S. Eliot contains a complex imagistic narrative on the dark and depressing nature of city life and the state of human soul. The Preludes appears to be imagistic representation of urban life, recorded without comment. The poem suggests the urban society and its isolated people from one another, and it suggests that society isolates people and destroys individuality, even destroying human morality itself. In this poem or collection of 4 poems, Eliot pursues his favorite technique, the technique of conveying the dehumanization by fragmenting the human elements into parts of the body, like muddy feet and hands in Prelude Second, hair, the soles of feet and palms of both soiled hands in Prelude Third, insistent feet, fingers, eyes in Prelude 4. The observer perceives human beings as dismembered parts of body. The muddy feet, the hands, the short square fingers, the eyes, assured of certain certainties, these things, these are simply body parts. This fragmentation is a negation of individual identity. In this way, no complete human soul or human body emerges in the poem. All is as mechanical and as dislocated as the action of a robber. Note how the people in Preludes also lack any distinguishing features and are instead reduced to their body parts. This underscores the sense of anonymity created by the modern life, created by the modern society. All these people are living together in this space, but that doesn't make them part of a meaningful community. Instead, the urban world seems to erase their identities, making them into just a bunch of feet and hands. People robotically follow the routines required of modern urban living. It is Eliot's comment in certain moods on human behavior. The technique is greatly developed and expanded in the vast land. The unnamed city in which the poem is set is a grimy, dingy place in which people unthinkingly partake in monotonous daily routine. Day in, day out, the sun keeps rising and setting. Things don't change. The world keeps turning. Things largely remain constant. Each of the poems within Preludes relates the routines taking place in a modern city at a specified time of day. First the evening, then morning, then the night, and finally the afternoon. The poems see modern life as being artificially controlled by the clock, which leads to people following a natural routine day after day, instead of living freely and in the moment. There seems to be little escape from the everyday urban life of drudgery. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you sleep, you again get up, you do it all again the next day. This goes on, forever. Even the horses driving the cabs are steaming and stamping as if frustrated with their lot in life. Urban society, the poem suggests, isolates people from one another. We live in our houses unconcerned about our neighbors, unconcerned about our friends, ultimately erasing their individuality and even eroding human morality itself. The city in the poem is presented as a filthy, desolate place. There are grimy scraps of withered leaves blowing around, newspapers thrown to the sidewalk, and broken blinds and chimney pots. The streets smell of steak, smoke, and stale beer, and the shades in the people's homes are dingy, dirty, shabby.